currently social distancing. The majority of the country is or should be, with my husband and my 7-month-old, who you might hear from the bedroom because I'm in the living room recording this. My husband's watching her right now. But I am in the epicenter, the U.S. epicenter, downtown Seattle, King County, which has most of the cases of the coronavirus. I'm using an actual microphone for my phone, so I'm really, really hoping that it works because my volume has been an issue and I'm really trying to up my video game. So I'm hoping that works because I tend to talk kind of like soft in these videos, so this will be the test. But as I said, I'm here in Seattle. You can see in the background. I haven't left my house in like, I think today's the 15th. I haven't left in 15 days. No, more actually. Because it's a long story. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I usually go out on the weekends. Well, my husband's at work during the week. So it's actually been like 20 days. I actually didn't take it too seriously at first. I thought, I was hearing conflicting reports about it's not as bad. It's like the flu. Do what you normally do. Flu season kills a bunch of people every year. This is just something new. Don't freak out. So I would read stories like that and think, okay, whatever, like flu season, this is something similar, just it is what it is. But then you would hear other stories of people freaking out and saying that it's like MRSA and SARS and that it's a respiratory, it's killing a lot of older people. And then me referring to notes because I don't know if my memory was that great before I became a mom, but since I became a mom, I am scatterbrained and I have trouble getting organized and I need to try and stay on task. So my video is not 45 minutes long because nobody wants to watch a 45-minute long video about somebody living in Seattle or hiding from the coronavirus. I feel like it wasn't until the first death from coronavirus that things really started to spiral. I think it was a man in Kirkland, Washington, which is about 30 minutes north of Seattle, who died from it on February 29th. That is when people seem to take it more seriously because I think that was the first death in the U.S. And then, of course, the coronavirus came in through Seattle from China. So this is where it all started. This seems to be where it's the worst in the U.S. So on that day, I remember Danny was supposed to go and get me Cheesecake Factory after dinner. But then he's like, okay, well, they're sending everybody home to work from home. Things are starting to kind of get serious. And so we started ordering some non-perishable things that, we can freeze, all of that. And, I was definitely relying on him to keep up with everything because he reads the news more than I do. It's like, I think this is going to get bad. And I was like, no. Because again, like I was hearing conflicting things. Some people naturally are going to downplay things and other people are just more prone to freaking out. And so you really don't know what to really believe and how much you need to prepare because I didn't want to go buy a bunch of food that I didn't need. So in preparation for this video, I decided to kind of look up what is known about the coronavirus because I was just hearing so many conflicting things, and so I thought for the purpose of this video I should know a little something. So I took some screenshots of some things that I found, and if I can up my editing game, I'll learn how to like put them in as I'm talking about them. We'll see if I can do that. So when I first searched the coronavirus, there's a map that comes up when you search it, and it shows, where it is in the world, and it's just about everywhere. China and Europe looks crazy. And then so I went on experience.arcgis.com, and it showed, this was as of yesterday, it showed 142,649 confirmed cases, over 5,300 deaths in 135 countries. So, but then within a day, I went to that same website and looked at that same picture, and the confirmed cases had jumped to 153,648 with over 5,700 deaths in 146 countries. So it is snowballing. And it's scary because, I mean, obviously the more people that stay at home, the slower, and then eventually it'll stop. But I don't know how long I'm going to be in this apartment, basically. I looked up what is the coronavirus, and I feel like it is a new virus, and so people are just learning about it as more people get it and they come in for testing. So it's not something that's anybody's ever seen before, but it does belong to a large family of viruses that we've heard about before that are extremely deadly. So this is either from the CDC website or the World Health Organization website. But what is the coronavirus? Family coronaviruses are large family of viruses that can cause illness in humans and animals, and they cause respiratory infections. Ranges from the common cold to more severe diseases like MRSA and SARS. And COVID-19, which is the coronavirus that we're dealing with right now, is the most recently discovered coronavirus. And it says, what is COVID-19? And so I'm just going to bring the laptop here so I don't have to look off to the side. There's a little extra light from the laptop. Okay. So it was not known before its outbreak in Wuhan, China in December 2019. And this says that the most common symptoms are fever, tiredness, and dry cough. You can have aches, pains, and nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, or diarrhea. They're usually mild and begin gradually. And then, of course, some people that become infected don't show symptoms and don't feel unwell. Over 80% of the people cover from the disease without needing special treatment. But 1 out of every 6 people who get it become seriously ill and develop difficulty breathing. Older people with underlying medical problems like high blood pressure, heart problems, or diabetes are more likely to develop serious illness. And it says if you develop fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, you should seek medical attention. What I found online was saying that you need to stay 3 feet away from somebody who is infected because it is spread through droplets when somebody coughs, and it can live on surfaces for, I think, hours or up to days after it's been infected. And antibiotics are not effective in preventing or treating COVID-19 because antibiotics apparently do not work against viruses, only bacterial infections. I'm working on a vaccine right now, but they, to my knowledge, don't have one yet. And I saw them advertising, like, I could be wrong, but I believe I saw something advertising people in my area. They were wanting volunteers, and I think they were going to give them like $1,000 a person to be tested to find a vaccine. Another question on this website was, is COVID-19 the same as SARS? And it's saying that it's not. I think it's related to it, like it's in the same family, but SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, and that broke out in 2003. So COVID-19 and SARS are related genetically, but the diseases they cause are different. SARS was much more deadly and much less infectious than COVID-19. So there weren't as many outbreaks, but it was deadlier. And according to this, there have not been any outbreaks of SARS since 2003. The incubation period for COVID-19 is between 1 and 14 days, but according to this website, it says that the average is most commonly around 5 days. And then I think initial reports were saying that somebody had caught, like the initial person had caught COVID-19 from an animal, And while coronaviruses are large family viruses that are common in animals, typically when people get it, it's spread from person to person through those droplets when someone coughs. And so it says, for example, SARS was associated with civet, it's spelled C-I-V-E-T, cats, and MRSA was transmitted by dromedary camels. So it says possible animal sources of COVID-19 have not been confirmed. And then it says if you're visiting live animal markets, avoid direct contact and surfaces that those animals have touched. And then ensure good food safety practices when preparing raw meat. They do not think that you can get COVID-19 from a pet. There was a story about a dog in China, I believe. There was a dog infected in Hong Kong, but there was no evidence that the dog or a cat can transmit to a person. I think I already said that it can live on surfaces from hours to days. But if you receive a package from anywhere that COVID-19 has been reported, this says that the likelihood the infected person packing your items is low. And so the risk of contracting the virus is low from a package that's been moved, traveled, and exposed to different conditions and temperature. And then there were some other articles that I saw about how China is supposedly saying that COVID-19 came from Army personnel from the U.S. who had visited their part of China in October. So you'll Google it and you'll find a bunch of stuff. So just in my area, I found some numbers about the positive/confirmed cases. And so this is saying there's over 700 confirmed cases in Washington, which I thought was 600 in another source that I saw. But anyway, the majority of them, and I'll try and put this up on the screen, the majority of them were in King County, which is where Seattle is located, and there have been 420. And it also looks like Seattle's had the most number of deaths at 37. And so this information I got yesterday or today. And there's also some information on the confirmed cases by age. And they're saying that's typically older people that have it. And then how many people have been tested, and then whether the majority is female or male. Pretty soon after the man in Kirkland died, people were staying home, at least up here. I know that it can look a little bit different around the country. It's interesting. I'll be looking on social media, and there are still people out there who are just going out and living their lives, and maybe they're taking more precautions, but they're out there. I've not left my house all of March, so. But around here, I remember seeing shortly after they were telling people to work from home if they could. There were a few restaurants in my neighborhood, not too far from my apartment, that shut down because they were down 70% of revenue. And so restaurants, anybody that relies on people to come to their business have been shutting down, laying people off. And it's crazy just how fast that can happen. It doesn't even feel real. You would never think something like that could happen in this country to this magnitude, and let alone, just world. It's worldwide, and so when you look at it on a map, it is jarring, and it really is out of a movie. Anything worse that, not that COVID-19 is not bad, but you see all these zombie apocalypse movies and shows and everything. Can you imagine a more deadly, crippling disease getting out? And they don't even know where this one came from and how it got out. I'm sure they'll find out. But I'm kind of just almost at a loss for words, because I've never seen anything like this. I don't think any of us have, in our lifetime. At least, I'm thinking my generation, my parents' generation, maybe too. Anyway, when all this first started kind of like really spiraling, I remember hearing about, oh, there's a Facebook employee that they found to be tested positive for coronavirus, Amazon employee, and I am right in the heart of downtown, and so this is literally in my backyard. And even though it doesn't seem to be necessarily affecting babies and kids, I do have a 7-month-old, and I don't want to get sick. Dane doesn't want to get sick. We don't want to pass it along to somebody else who we may encounter in the building that, who knows, may be compromised in some way, maybe older, maybe, has some underlying illness that would make it harder for them to battle the infection. So it's pretty scary. Like, we're right here in ground zero. So when it really started escalating and the person died and people started buying up people started buying at the stores, and I was flashing back to when I lived in Florida and there was a hurricane coming, and just the panic. And I tried to get toilet paper and it's sold out everywhere. I think that you can still get it in stores, but they won't ship to you. And then, you go in some place like Amazon, and what toilet paper you can find, they're like, 6 rolls for $75. Like, it's insane to me. I remember when I saw that Tom Hanks and his wife tested positive for coronavirus while they were in Australia, everybody was like, oh shit. Like, our most beloved celebrity they're trying to take from us. Somebody protect Betty White, like, put her in quarantine right now. And I saw also that the Canadian Prime Minister's wife tested positive for coronavirus. They've been comparing it to some 90s movie called Outbreak that I never saw, but like now I kind of feel like I need to watch it. But we, when things started really getting serious, we tried to order off of Amazon Fresh, and they had either completely booked up all their delivery times, or they weren't delivering at all because we couldn't use them. I had to use Instacart for the first time, and there was a lot of product that was low. And then of course when you order from something like Instacart, it's somebody that's just going to a grocery store shortly before your delivery window and purchasing these items. So if they get there and they're sold out, you don't get them. It's not like when you order from Amazon and electronically you get put into a queue and you somehow reserve what you've purchased. It's not like that with Instacart. And so and then we purchased we put an order on Amazon Pantry for a lot of non-perishable things. And then when Amazon Fresh was delivering again, we got some fresh stuff. Like, I was craving strawberries and tomatoes. Also ordered some more non-perishable things. And I think that we need to place another order again because people are going crazy. Someone on my Facebook was talking about how I think she lives in Colorado, and they didn't have any chicken. Like, people just went and stockpiled chicken. Because on Friday, when things started spiraling, so today is Sunday, this past Friday was Friday the 13th. I totally wasn't even like intending to like wear this and like have that correlation, but I have so much Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, like classic horror stuff, that the odds are on any given day I'm wearing this. I tried to place an Instacart order on Friday, and when I placed it on Friday, they did still have toilet paper, but my delivery window wasn't until 5 to 7, and so by that time people had gone and taken it all for themselves. So I have like a little conversation with the Instacart person, like, there's nothing left, and he's like, the paper towel and the toilet paper aisles are empty. But the memes are pretty amazing on Friday the 13th. So like on Friday the 13th, everything started ramping up and more people started staying home. So like the memes, oh my God, the memes, they were so good. Like, I've got one of Chucky from Child's Play, and then Jason, because it was his day and the coronavirus overshadowed it. So it was funny. You got to find humor in situations like this, and it was kind of like the beginning of the situation, and so people were just kind of like didn't know whether to laugh or cry, basically. But I think for me, when it really hit me that it was getting serious, was schools were extending their spring breaks. The NBA was canceling everything. My best friend had a trip to Disney World closed down. Concerts were getting canceled. Broadway was closing down. I think when I saw all of these like official businesses and things that were like, we have to close up shop, it's dangerous out there, I was like, oh my God, like, I can take that. Because when you hear these stories, out there and you don't really know what to believe or how to act. For me, I'm, because I've never experienced anything like this before, my mind is, okay, well, things will get better. Like, I don't really want to like abruptly change my routine if things are going to be okay. But when these big businesses that make a lot of money are like, we are shutting down because of this thing, you have to take notice, and then it's really serious. I saw also that they were putting bans on large gatherings. So like, those were large examples of people canceling, but like cities and things were also canceling, smaller scale things that were over a certain number of people. And then of course the U.S. declared a state of emergency to use, I guess, funds to help the situation. And the thing that makes me so sad is that there are a lot of people out there that this is affecting, that don't have the ability to buy up all the toilet paper or all the food in the grocery stores. Maybe don't have a support system, especially the people that the disease is seeming to target more, which is the elderly. Somebody posted a picture of this older woman with a cart in the grocery store at an empty aisle trying to find supplies, and people forget about others in times like this, and people get really selfish and terrified and just think about themselves. So now I don't really know how much longer all this is going to go on. The more people that stay at home, the faster it can be under control. And yeah, I'm still in shock, basically, just how widespread it is. And I kind of don't know what else to say about it, but I'm staying inside, and hopefully I can continue to get items, sent to me, so I don't have to go out. We're on our last roll of toilet paper. I've got some paper towels and I've got baby wipes. So when those are out, and unless more items get back in stock online that can be shipped to me, I'm gonna have to brave the streets just to get toilet paper. So, I definitely just wanted to make a video about it because I feel like this is a really important, scary time in history of the world. And even if nobody watches this video, at least it's something that I can look back and say, yeah, like, do you remember when we went through the coronavirus? Like, that was insane. Here's hoping that people get better and we don't see any more deaths. And ironically, while I'm sitting here and I have the time, I'm going to be recording a Bath and Body Works haul / body shop haul. So it's kind of ironic that I'm going to be talking about soap in the next video, but there it is. So if you watch this video, watch the next one, and like, comment, and subscribe if you will. I sure would appreciate it. See you in the next video.